Greetings everyone, MK Mueller here with our next miracle from our Miracles Guaranteed course. I realized it was very important not just to talk about all the things that went well. Certainly there wouldn't be enough time to talk about all the things that went well in any of our lives, but to talk about a really big struggle that I had on pursuing my biggest dream, and it all centers around this little baby. So when I was starting my support group in my home, free of course, with just neighbors, started out with 6 neighbors, 5 of whom I didn't know. We showed up at my door after I put flyers in their mailboxes. It's just that simple. Gonna be taking care of me class. So that grows, and pretty soon I'm speaking to about 100 folks in church basements every week, and we got to be really close. Really amazing group of women, kind of about 25 women, got really close, and they kept saying, "You need to write a book. You need to write a book." I didn't know how to write a book, but I said, "Fine, I'm listening. I'll give it my best." In the midst of still having a full-time job and raising 2 kids as a single mom. So, you just do the best you can. And there comes a time when you have to typeset it, which means set it into these pages, right? And so I found a typesetter that I thought looked really good. And the day that I called to say, "Okay, so tomorrow's the deadline. Are we good?" And he goes, "Well, kind of." And I said, "What?" And he said, "It was more work than we thought. So you need to pay us $1,000 or you won't have your book." Now, by then, I had a printer all ready to go. But if I wanted the book out before Christmas, which I really did, I had 1 week to get the printer, the book, from the type center. Yeah, lots of tears and pleading and tears, and no, $1,000. So eventually I called, I believe it was my brother, and said, I was kind of living paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't, all the money I had was going into, getting this book ready. And so, anyway, thank you for my brother, who, of course, I paid back. And I got the book typeset. So that was only the first challenge. Then I wanted to go to the printer, and there were problems with the printer, so I eventually had to change printers. But eventually I said, it would be really great if I could find someone who would help, be a publisher, is what they're called. So you send out a query letter. It's a 1-page letter saying, "Here's what the book is. Here's why I think it would be good." You have 1 page, 3 paragraphs to make your point. 3. So I sent them out to 134 people. 134 different publishers, and I got 5, "Okay, send us more." The other 134 either said no or didn't return the letter at all. Don't worry, chicken soup for the soul, you know how powerful that is. I think it was 190 rejection letters. Yeah, so I'm in good company. At any rate, so of the 5, it was, I just was getting some really mixed feelings, and I thought, no, I know I've never done this before, but I want to feel good about my publisher, and none of these people are really making a connection with me. And finally, somebody called me. One of these 5 called me. We had a nice, long, half-hour conversation. And at the end of it, I said, "Ooh, I feel like a connection. Okay, I'm going to go with them." And so we're all good. And I sent them the, first couple of chapters, and they're having an editor work on it. And one day they said, "Oh, we forgot to ask you something. You've been printing it for 2 years. What, no, by then it was 4 years, sorry. You've been printing it for 4 years. What are your numbers of the exact number that you've printed?" And I said, "Oh, the exact number I printed, the exact number I printed, the exact number I printed." So I go back to my printer, who had, in the meantime, because I only ordered book like every 2 years, gone out of business. No trace, no phone number, no, this is before email. I know, hard to believe. Before email, no phone number. Couldn't reach them. So I had to say, I didn't keep the best records. I think it's this many. And they go, No, we need to hear from your printer. We're not going to trust your numbers. And I said, he went out of business. And I go, oh, you're just a shyster. You're just a liar. Okay, we're going to cancel this. How are we doing so far? Oh, but it gets even more interesting. So that's its own jolt. Then somebody called me. I'm not going to name the press because I'm going to tell a not fun story about them. But this press called and said, okay, we just saw your book. I forget where they found it, but they said, yeah, we're very interested and we want to help you. So they moved it from just a book to a workbook because now there's actually places to fill in the blank. And they said, no, it's going to be better as a workbook. And they worked with the editor and it was really great, really great. And I loved them. I just loved them. The guy I was working with as an editor and I loved each other. And he said, this is such a great book. And, you know, it was the first time I'd really been acclaimed by anybody in the business. So anyway, so they were about to come out with a book, and they announced that they were moving to Scotland. What? Yeah, we're moving to Scotland, but don't worry, we'll be in touch. There's something on the back of a book called an ISBN. I forget what it stands for, but it's basically where people can find your book in the Library of Congress, because Library of Congress in DC has every single book ever written. Yeah, it's a big building. One copy of every book ever written. It might be emails now, but back in the day, it had to be a physical copy. So on the final print, they messed up the ISBN number. So I had sold tons of books. I was actually the top read book in the state of Nebraska. There's a little list of that. And somebody said, did you know you were the top? I don't know, just 1 month. But anyway, so it was doing really well. And all of a sudden, they took it over. They started printing it. And because the ISBN was wrong, I didn't get credit for any of my sales. And then all of a sudden, bookstores couldn't find it. I'm frantic. My sales have dropped off like a cliff. And I go, what's happening? And all I have is a phone number in Scotland. And I don't know, I guess they were too busy to answer my phone. Eventually they told me, yeah, we were moving in. And just so for months, I have basically no sales. And I cannot get a hold of my Scotland publisher. When I finally did, and they admitted that they had made that mistake, I said, I want the rights to my book back. I will not be paying you one dime. I don't need you to pay me. I just need you to give me my book back. So I've been self-publishing it ever since. Now, where's the happy ending? Oh, there is. I had a list of all the things I wanted in a publisher. And I came out with Ape to Great the first time. It was blue and green for anybody who read it early on. And I self-published it and it was all good. And then 7 years ago, my dream publisher called me and said, MK, we just found your book and it's wonderful and we want the whole world to read it. It's called Mango Press. They're out of Miami, right here in Florida. It's sort of near me. And they came out with it in hardback first and then paperback, and they did a beautiful job. And it just, I got to revise things like make more female quotes instead of just guy quotes. And I'm very, very, very proud of my final Ape to Great. But it took 15 years to find my dream publisher. So just so you know, miracles sometimes take a while. And you have to do your best, let go of the rest, keep doing your best, let go of the rest, because dreams will come true if you don't give up on them. Thanks, sweethearts.